Would you like some exposition?
Exposition.
We have so much exposition to show off. Ding!
Speaking of exposition, who wants to talk about murders? I mean, exposition! Yay!
Expositional murders. Whatever that even means. Who knows?
Exposition on murders, or murders on exposition. It's just getting worse and worse as we keep going.
If only.
It's just gonna get worse from here. Hey there, people of the internet world. It's Kibatu with Gamer Cal once again.
Hello again.
Yes. We're gonna have fun with this one, or at least we're gonna try to, because good luck, have fun. Well, we're gonna try to, because it's still an episode we gotta cover. So
it's still an episode.
That's the best way I can describe this one. Okay, shut up. Shut up.
You should come here. Yeah.
You should have came more prepared. So, as we were trying to play this, in case you missed it, RWBY Volume 4 Episode 8 released not too long ago, and boy was there a lot of talking in this one. So, this one may be a tough one to really, keep it entertaining or just try to keep the topic going, but it's a slow episode for a reason. We needed a slow episode to get used to after having this crazy fight with Qrow and Tyrion. We gotta have this slow down to just relax ourselves and get some explanation out of the way. So that's what this episode is. So if you want to see the episode yourself, you can go see it yourself. Then you can come back and probably join us in a little bit of discussion while we're talking about this. As much talking as there has been in this episode, there's going to be a lot of talking. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Wish us luck. We're going to try our best to make this entertaining.
Yeah, you'll probably catch more than we have here, but, that's...
Well, I mean, it's still a good episode regardless, but there's so little that happens, but there's so much that happens with talking. There's so much information given, yet this stuff that we already know, so I'm getting ahead of ourselves here. Starting this episode off then, we start off with Team Ranger and Qrow talking around the campfire to relax themselves after that fight with Tyrion, and they're just taking a minute to process the information, and Qrow's asking what? No questions? Well, of course they have questions, but they were just fed a lot of information about the four maidens, about why they're fighting them and such, and why Qrow is out and about. It's a lot to take in, just all of a sudden.
Yeah, thankfully we didn't have to listen to all of that again, so,
Well, at least, Qrow could have probably just summed it up. It's like, this happened here, a minute later, that's it. That's all that happened.
Yeah, maybe,
But it wouldn't have made sense, so...
No, so... At the very least, we didn't have to hear the same information again.
Yeah, well, it's still information that the team needed to know, and...
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad there was a jump cut, basically, in between episodes.
Yeah, of course. And one person not very happy about this is Jaune. Jaune, with what happened to Pyrrha and how it happened and why she had to do what she had to do, Jaune, you can understand that Jaune feels a little cheated for Pyrrha. Not cheated for himself, but he felt like Pyrrha was more or less forced into it because they brought this what's the word I'm looking for? It's option for Pyrrha to decide on, but
choice, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's another word for it. But Pyrrha, although they gave her the choice to decide it was a lot to say no to, and I don't think Pyrrha would have been in the position to say no to it. And I guess that's why Jaune felt she was forced in it regardless, because with how much was at stake, and with them asking Pyrrha over anybody else and nobody else, maybe he felt that Pyrrha was pressured into it. That's the word I'm looking for. Maybe she was pressured into the idea of becoming it. That's what we're looking for, is pressured. So I'm pretty sure Jaune is going to have some very bad feelings about Qrow and the whole for a while. And he's not going to be happy for some time. Thankfully, he still has his recording. But aside from that, though, Jaune asks some obvious questions like what really is going on, why is this all happening, or whatever. Qrow leads into this very obvious segment of World of Remnant inside an episode, which it was well done, honestly. It panned to the little rock slab next to Qrow and just used the fire and shadows as a way of portraying the art, rather than just having its different set of arts to set itself up, which I feel really showed that they're trying to have fun with some effects that they have with this. Like, they're trying to get some creative ideas with their graphics and just trying to show that they can do this as well. Which
it was alright, but it's still effectively, not artificially lengthening the episode, because obviously we do need this information ourselves, even if we could basically guess most of this. But it kind of did, there's a reason this is a 20-minute episode instead. It's basically like a 60-minute episode as a usual length, and then a World of Remnant stuck in it as well, and it's just, is there a better way that they could have done it? That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, it's well done for what they did, but it's like, is there a better way that they could have told that story?
I also feel like with the other World of Remnants, it was general knowledge to everyone else living in the World of Remnant that it's already there. So the World of Remnants is mainly for the viewers to understand more about the lore of it, rather than just explaining it. Whereas this, it's Qrow telling of this story and why of how it came to be and why this exists. Like, for example, nobody, especially the Teen Ranger, knew about the Four Relics, which now we know, what they are, technically. We don't know what they look like, but we do know that Four Relics are gifts from the two gods, who apparently are brothers, which, God and Satan, what do you know it, they're brothers.
Yeah, the one exception would be the Wizard's Tale, as the one exception to the general knowledge type thing, but yeah, I guess that does make it a little bit different to the World of Remnants overall.
It just kind of
the whole two god thing. Spoilers: the two gods, the Salem and Osmond.
I was just thinking their forms of God and Satan, but that's.
Oh yeah. No, it would. I know everybody's like, oh, Ozpin's the wizard and whatnot, and sure, it would make sense being the Wizard of Oz and all that, but I think it'd be kind of cooler if it was actually, like Salem was the goddess of destruction and Ozpin was the other goddess of light, darkness thing,
Yeah.
Ozpin was light, Salem was darkness.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool.
Salem does show that she's been around long enough that I believe she could have been, I'm wondering if she might have been the first creation that the Brother of Destruction created. I'm wondering.
Do you mean when he made the Grimm?
Yes, when he made the creatures of Grimm themselves. Yeah. I'm wondering if he created Salem, because Salem, you can tell she's a Grimm herself, but she's head bitch. Let's say you're not the queen bitch of this place. She is, and God, I hope she's British, because you know the old saying.
Excuse me.
I had to find that somewhere. Hey, after watching that abridged episode, I had to say it sometime.
That's alright. I've managed to get some stuff on you in this series anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. But getting off track there for a minute there. With these brothers here, the relics themselves, they are actual general gifts to the human race themselves, which is knowledge, creation, destruction, and choice. Which I guess it would make sense that they would just give these as gifts, but they're actual physical manifestations inside the world. That confuses me a bit as to why they would do that. I mean, you would think it was just a regular gift to people rather than just be a physical manifestation of it being a gift to people.
Yeah, that sort of it feels like it conflicts a little bit with what we learned about humanity and dust and all of that to begin with. It's like, humans born from dust, died to dust, whatever, but it's like, if you had these tools, then why was it only when you found dust that you were able to not die to Grimm? If these 4 tools were around from the beginning, I'm just not entirely sure how that sort of fits in. And then I guess the other loophole would be like, why were the Grimm still around? Right?
Yeah, I'm wondering a bit if maybe the Grimm was just like the Grimm was just created, and they were just created this creation, which I guess in a sense when they created human beings, and then after creating the Grimm, maybe the Grimm were like few in between, like there wasn't that much Grimm in between, so there wasn't that much going on. So because in time they grew, and boy did they grow into such a high number of Grimm to take down. Maybe there's just a small number that they could have that people back then without dust could have handled it, but they were starting to lose the battle as numbers kept growing. And once they found the dust, they found a way to actually counter it rather than just fight them off or keep them away. That's just that's just speculation. But with the Grimm and such being such a danger, and every other danger that lives in this world of Remnant, they have to find a way to defend these creations, these 4 relics, if you will. So that's the reason, that's the main reason for the Academies. It's not just to help make hunters and huntresses and such, but it's also to protect their actual walls for defending the relics. Then that's why Salem herself was trying to say that Salem has to be at that academy, which, because this beacon was supposed to be the defendant of that relic.
Aye.
So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It just again, it makes me wonder what the manifestation of this relic is. What does it look like? Where is it? What is it? Why is it there? Like, is it there still? Is it in Qrow's hands? Is it in someone else's hands? Is it just missing all of a sudden? Maybe, what's his name? Ozpin took it with him as the manifestation and you fused it with Oscar as well. Like, that's a weird off-the-top theory.
Oh, no, I don't know if that's really feasible.
I wouldn't think so, but that's just a random off the top of the head thing, and I'm not backing it up by any means necessary. That's just a random theory.
No, you would think that if that was the case, then Oscar would feel that, definitely. And he showed no sort of signs of that at all.
Well, again, that's just rare speculation. I mean, if I really want to look into it, I could probably come up with another theory, a proper theory, but that's for another time. Moving on. Yeah. Moving on. Oh, fun times. Moving on then, with the whole explanation of that being done and over with, they really cut right there back to where Blake is sitting outside of her father's study, I guess, where she's just, I guess she's debating of going in, or she's just too scared to go in and just say hi and such. I guess Blake seems to be a little scared of meeting her father again, or talking to her, which reasons we'll get into later. But while she's waiting out there, her mother comes out, hands her a tea set, and leaves Blake to just go in and take it in. And the reason for her doing this is that Mother has been hearing a lot from Sun, and she wants to hear about Team RWBY by Sun. Sun, you don't know a damn thing about what happened, so what can you talk to Blake about it first? And learn about...
Can I just say how awesome Kira's voice is, though? Like, seriously? Or Kali, even, not Kira. Kira's voice is cool, too, yeah. But can I just say how freaking awesome Kali's voice is? Like, seriously.
I think
the delivery is so good in this.
I think she pulls off the mother aspect really good. I think that whoever voices her, I think she knows how to pull off that voice for the mother, and like that mother character. I think she fits that role really good, yeah. Though I think his voice really fits in with what he's trying to fit in as well. Which speaking of the father, Blake takes in the tea set slowly to bring it in, bring Gira the cup of tea and whatever, and they have this little awkward family situation where they're trying to get one thing done. They're trying to make it more awkward with the family situation. God, the awkwardness. If there was an extra minute for awkwardness, I think all these videos would be cut down by like 5 minutes. But that's just nitpicking. So after a few exchanges about being family situations and such, and how Gira is commenting how Blake doesn't have more armor on her, quote unquote. Armor, not clothing. Like, I don't think Blake's revealing in that sense, but still, it's just the father just worrying about her having armor on, which, yeah, she could, but Blake's not like that. Blake's about more for the speed aspect as far as attacking and defending and such, and I think armor would just slow it down.
Yeah, although when you look at clothing from this season compared to the previous ones, I could definitely see where her father would be coming from, because she, at least for the, main part of her body, that she was fully covered before.
Yeah.
And obviously now she is very much not.
Yeah, she's not. But it covers what it needs to cover. People can expose their bellies. I mean, look at friggin' Sun. I think he exposes a little too much for anything. Through the whole entire series, be honest.
Yeah, well, Sun is just...
Sun, put on some buttons. Put on some buttons on that shirt.
Sun is secretly Professor Kukui from Southern Men. Because, yeah, he is exactly the same way.
Yeah, friggin' Sun. Oh, I'm gonna ready to smack him later. But aside from that whole little aspect there, Blake makes it a little more serious, where it's a little more of an emotional story being told here, on top of just father and daughter meeting again, because the story that's summarized up in this conversation between the two being so serious, Blake was born into the White Fang. We know this, and when her father stepped down as High Leader and got away from the White Fang, Blake apparently got angry and yelled at them and told them they were wrong and such, and she just was so adamant at staying inside the White Fang. But doing that, I think the father knew that she was becoming more aggressive, in a sense, kind of like how Adam is now, with how so into the idea of getting, quote unquote, what's the word looking for, equality between faunus and humans, that they were so low that they were going to like get rid of all the people and just make faunus the better power, rather than just be equals, which that's not what Blake wanted.
Equality through intimidation.
Yeah, that's what Adam was, and I think I think the summary of this was that's how Blake was becoming, with intimidation and trying to be this intimidating person. And when she saw her father step down and step away from the White Fang, she called them cowards, and they're trying to be more intimidating and such. But I guess Blake found that out, that that's not how it works, so she got out of the White Fang, and that's when she decided to get out, because she saw that Adam was just more into being the aggressive, intimidating person to get their form of equality. And so, yeah, that's how Blake was when she got in and she got out. So Blake becomes the good guy again, but when she left the White Fang and didn't come home, she was obviously feeling more ashamed towards her mother and father by yelling at them and such. So that's the reason that she didn't return home and instead went to Beacon Academy to get away from it and try to learn a bit more about how the world operates, rather than just learn from the White Fang. But as she learns through this whole thing, is mother and father still love her very much. They didn't change that. They're happy that Blake left the White Fang and she became this better person, rather than just staying with the White Fang and becoming this I don't want to say evil, but this tyrannical being like Adam, like just control with intimidation, equality with intimidation. So then that leaves the only question: why did she leave RWBY? Like, why did she leave Team RWBY behind and just came back home and such? She explains later why she did it, which, yeah, she explains later. But as she was trying to explain to her father, though, the door falls over. Oh, damn it, son! Damn it! For God freaking sake, I'm gonna punch you in the freaking face!
You can see why I don't like him. Not as much as Qrow, apparently. You know,
yeah, Qrow just flat out saying, I really don't like you. At least he makes it known. At least he's blunt about it. But I mean, I can see why Sun was just letting them have their moment. But he really needed to talk to Blake. But he was at least having the moment. He just didn't do it very well, and that shows that he didn't do it very well. Oh, Sun, stop being you. One day.
That's basically the only advice you can give him. Just don't be yourself.
Just stop being yourself, son. Try, you know what? Learn from, like, say, RWBY, or Jaune even. Learn from him. Jaune at least knows more about being a regular person than you. So, learn from him.
To the socially awkward.
Ding. Oh, fun. So after that exchange, we return quickly back to Team Ranger and Qrow once again, and with Jaune trying to say, let's say all this is happening as such, and whatever. Why doesn't the world know? Why does the world not know about the maidens and the relics, and why aren't they getting ready for it, and why are they not hurrying to Haven to help them out?
Yeah, he mirrors Pyrrha's question when she first found out about all of this. It's like, why keep it a secret? That's exactly what she said when she found out about the maiden stuff in Volume 3. And it's a very purposeful choice that Jaune is the one who asked that.
Yeah, of course. But Qrow mentions, like, because of which, if anybody else would have known about it and this would become widespread, everybody would know about it. That would include people that would want to seize that power. Thus, that a war would break out because people would want it against people who would defend it, or against people who want it, people who want it. Like, you don't know how many people would want it. You don't know how many people would actually try to defend it. You don't know a person until they show off their true colors. And if everybody were to know about these powers, the maidens, the relics, and whatever, I don't think they would hold back on what their true selves would be.
You get a feeling that's how the first Great War started.
Yeah.
Because that's a separate one from the Faunus War, to my knowledge anyway.
Yeah.
So you get the feeling that's how the Great War started in the first place, is that information got out about it.
Yeah. And with that kind of information, with that kind of power, everybody wants it. So, yeah, let's try not to have a Great War started, guys. So after explaining that, then, after Qrow explains that, RWBY simply just says that she will do everything she can for Qrow to help out or whatever, because she fully trusts Qrow. She does truly trust her uncle. But she only has to ask, why is it that he didn't trust her? Like, why wouldn't he tell her more about this information earlier, or why they would have to keep this in secrecy, whatever. But as Qrow says, it's a long story.
Just before that, though, is that they kind of asked, what should we do as a thing with that, and Qrow doesn't actually know the end game here. Like, he knows they're off to the headmaster in Haven, and hopefully he has answers for them. But he doesn't know exactly how this is going to go down. And that kind of put a slight doubt in the team a little bit.
Yeah, because their whole idea was to go to Haven and probably find more information, but now they have this information, now they want to know what they should do. Well, now they don't know. So, what do they do then? At this point, they just keep going to Haven, but they don't know what they're even going to do once they get there. So, it's just kind of like it's like a mouse chasing a piece of cheese, but the cheese runs away. But now you don't know where you're going. So, are you looking for the cheese, or are you looking for a way out, or what are you looking for after that point? So, I wonder what they are going to do after they get to Haven.
They're going to watch it burn to the ground. I mean, what?
Boy, a fire! Let's have some popcorn and watch it all burn.
Anyway,
we're horrible.
Proceed.
We're horrible people, aren't we?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh boy.
Right. So about
yeah. After that question asked, like I was trying to say earlier, though, with that RWBY trying to say why couldn't she trust, or why couldn't he trust RWBY and such, but he explains that it's just a long story. Like, seriously? After that whole explanation of the whole two brothers such, now you're tired of telling stories? Which, yeah, makes sense. But Qrow explains it in this sense. It's that it's not necessarily him not trusting anybody else. It's him unable to trust if his own self would be able to be their demise. Because we finally get an explanation as to what Qrow's semblance is. And
spoilers, it's not him turning into a Qrow.
Yeah. As some people might think. Who do you think? What do you think his semblance is? But that's 3-0 then. Qrow got me.
Yeah. No, it's what the Crows bring. It's misfortune. It's his semblance.
Yeah, because he's saying that this little Fae was saying that a herd of crows is a sign of bad luck to happen. And when you know it, Qrow's semblance, it just goes on no matter what anyway. That he brings misfortune to all those around him. Which is good for the enemies, because now that makes sense. Because from when the Qrow and Tyrion fought each other, now it makes a little more sense. His semblance was causing misfortune to
all
Tyrion.
Of those little inconsistencies that we were sort of picking up on last time, like that beam that Tyrion apparently didn't see before it fell through, and one was going to hit RWBY, and what did they say, get back stuff and all of that. It makes a lot more sense when you actually realize, it's because of the semblance being, a permanent minus 5 million to luck. That's it. So, yeah,
Qrow is just basically Mr. Bad Luck when he starts fighting others. So that's why Qrow is such a freaking good hunter. Because it's not even just him, it's his semblance being a misfortune to his opponent. Which...
Yeah, this is secretly one of the strongest semblances that we've actually come across so far. But at the same time, it has a real drawback in the sense of it's not a controllable thing. So it doesn't just affect his opponents, it affects everyone else as well.
Family and friends. Good for enemies, but hard on friends and family. Yeah. So you can imagine how bad Qrow must feel, knowing that this semblance is going to be around for so long, and that it's always so constantly going. So he has a hard time just being around friends and family. So yeah, this is probably why Qrow always has a mission for himself, for a lone wolf missions per se, not with any other people. So
I was gonna say this is probably why he's an alcoholic, but okay.
Yeah, that's true too.
That works too.
that's true too. All by myself.
A man has to have some solace in life, right?
Yeah, he has to have some kind of friend. Thankfully, he gets beer every chance he gets.
I don't think he drinks beer too much, actually. But
beer, alcohol,
he's taking liquor. I think he's taking liquor more.
Beer,
than
alcohol, tequila, liquor, whatever you prefer emphasis. He's getting drunk off his ass anyway. He's always drunk, so.
As Glinda has put it before.
Yeah, he's always drunk. Oh, Qrow. We still love you, buddy. So
It really does explain a lot if you look back now. Now that you think, oh, his semblance did misfortune. If you actually look back at a lot of the previous encounters with Qrow or just appearances in the show itself, it makes a lot more sense how some of the things, or what some of the things that happen there, even things you would really put down to bad luck at first. You know, thinking stuff like the glass falling from the bartender in Volume 3, Episode 1, or as you put it, the girls losing the video game to him all the time. One for me is Raven having to make the top shelf instead of the bottom shelf, for the, when it met in Episode 3. And yeah, a whole bunch of stuff like that. You still get thinking, oh, a lot of this bad stuff is probably happening because of Qrow's semblance. That makes a lot more sense now.
Oh, you learn so much. Once you actually look at current episodes and look back at previous episodes, you learn so much. And you put more pieces and puzzles together. It's like, You start looking at a bigger picture rather than just seeing a singular episode. So, yeah, that Qrow semblance, it's pretty powerful, but not without its own drawbacks, like every other semblance.
I wonder if that's why Cinder backed off after Qrow interrupted her stealing Amber's power. Because if she knew about his semblance, then she wouldn't want to push her luck, if you will.
I don't know if they would know. I think that looks like to me their first meeting, though, so I don't know if they would know right then and there.
I mean, you've got to think, especially with Tyrion knowing him as well, you've got to think that they would have already had some sort of knowledge of the group, if you will, the RWBY Illuminati, as you could put it.
Yeah.
So I think his reputation maybe precedes him a little bit. Maybe not necessarily everyone knowing about the semblance, but you'd have to think the enemy would know stuff like that.
They would have to know something. Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But if they do know something, they're not really handling it all too well, because Qrow and RWBY, Team RWBY, whatever, they still manage to deal with Tyrion, and they manage to have him run away and such, so they're still not doing bad, but because of that sting, well, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that in just a minute. In the meantime, though, one more time back to Blake and Sun. Blake slapping the living hell out of Sun for several times. Felt good.
Felt good until he was like, okay, I'm sorry, ow, I'm sorry, like in 10 seconds after he was slapped.
Yeah.
Just like,
God,
okay.
God, just stop hitting me, woman! But the reason that Sun was trying to find Blake was that he found out some interesting information about the White Fang that were around here. But Blake makes it perfectly clear that she does not care about this. She doesn't want to hear a single thing about the White Fang. She's here, specifically, back here at home, to try and rest, to try and get herself back together, and try to figure things out. Which, after she left speaking, yeah, there's a number of things that she needs to figure out. But Sun is dead set on trying to explain to her that something weird is going on, because Sun learning that White Fang members don't usually wear masks around Menagerie, but yet he found one earlier that day. So was there somebody that's just doing a mission, just wearing a mask? Was the mask like a novelty, or was maybe the White Fang have some secret operatives that are operating behind the mask? Maybe even then, maybe Adam's White Fang wears the masks, while the White Fang here, originally from Menagerie, don't. Which there's a lot to ask about that. But Blake is dead set on not knowing about it, so she just grabs the phone and just throws it away, like she doesn't want to know a damn thing about it. But when you know it, off-thrown objects somehow hit the most important thing that they need to hit, because when she throws that phone, they manage to hear a voice cry out in the forest, and when you know it, it's freaking White Fang member, a spy in the mist, if you will. That I don't know why. Why would they be listening to what Blake? What's the spy doing at Blake's house? That's what I'm trying to ask here. What's the spy doing trying to listen to this information when they already know that Blake's there? They already know what's going on, and what kind of information could they know about the Belladonna family?
Better question. Why is the spy wearing the white Grimm mask? Like, she's in all black, obviously, and then white mask stands out.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. You just kind of sit there in all black. Yeah, you're a ninja, but you wear a white mask. So I think people can still see you, lady. You're gonna have to learn how to not wear white things in black. White is a bad thing to wear along with black. Something. Oh well. Maybe she wanted to be figured out. Who knows? Not really. But after they found the spy tries to run away. Blake and Stun try to chase after it, with the mother just looking on and worry. So, yeah. But with the last few seconds left of the episode, we cut back to Ranger and Qrow one more time, where they slowly just get up, not stretching, not rubbing their eyes or anything. They just simply get up and like, we should probably go. Like, were they awake while they were laying down? Like, it just kind of bugged me how they handled this one here. Like, they just woke up and they just Ren just starts with it. Just kind of slowly gets up and just kind of faces the music, so to say. Just better get up and get going.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say that, but I think it might have just been that, they recently woke up or something and were just not really wanting to move too much. Like, the move from the previous night wasn't exactly that great by the end of it, so...
Well, another nitpick I have. What the hell is this? No pajamas? Really? This is just a small nitpick, but really? Like, you'd think they would bring some pajamas with them to sleep in more comfortably rather than just sleeping with RWBY sleeping in her combat skirt. You'd think they would have a little more options of clothing when they sleep. I mean, I can sort of get it. They want to make sure they have their battle gear ready and whatever to make sure that they're ready to get up and ready to fight if something comes in and tries to interrupt their sleep. But come on, it just looks weird for her to get up in that combat dress.
I think it's more the mixed gender thing. Personally, but that might just be...
It's just my own nitpick, but I mean, I'll let it pass because it's just a small nitpick. It's like, fine, get up, get going. Like, Qrow, you're gonna get up or something? Oh, yeah,
yes.
About Qrow. Yeah, about Qrow. When they get up, Qrow is awake, but he's starting to cough up blood, and his wound isn't just a flesh wound. It's more of a scorpion sting sending in venom inside his body. So, yeah, now it's confirmed. Qrow is pretty poisoned. Like, and we don't know how badly poisoned he is. I mean, he's unmovable, as in this case, because he couldn't get up. But yeah, this is gonna be a damper to the group.
He's gonna die, isn't he?
No! No, I don't want it. Oh, that better not happen. Well, that question may or may not be answered next time, so we'll see what happens. So that's it for this episode, Volume 4, Episode 8. It's really slow, it's really all talk and such, all out of exposition, but it's not a bad episode if you want to get some information out.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much tell, don't show.
Yeah, there's a lot of, this episode was a lot of talk and such, and yeah, there's some episodes that need some talk to get some things going, but a little bit too much explanation, you'd kind of get forced out of it, rather than you just feel the explanation for it. And that's the biggest complaint about some movies lately, is that it's a lot of explanation, not a lot of experiencing. So
Yeah, because I mean, this was the longest episode yet, but that's mostly because it was effectively fused with the world of Remnant, right?
Yeah.
At least the way that it sort of ended up going. It was obviously needed, and I mean, the title of the video says it all, a much needed talk, but I don't know, like, maybe it's just because of what it's come straight after, and it sort of feels a little bit off on the pacing.
Yeah.
But then that's the thing with this volume as a whole, though.
Yeah.
So,
The pacing is a little weird, but that's to be expected when you have 4 arcing stories in the whole series that's going on, trying to go all at once, and then you have some episodes, some points in the exploration where you have to slow down, relax, learn some things, and then you can get back and get going. Which, hopefully we'll get back up and going for episode 9, but that's for next time. So, any other nitpicks you can think of, or any other last minute things?
Any other tidbits? Not really. I don't think there's probably a lot that you could sort of go into from here, but I don't think there's anything else that's really necessary.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, if we did miss anything, I'm sure people in the comments will just tell us, hey, why didn't you talk about this thing? And yeah, they'll probably do that. But as far as we're considered, this episode has been so slow enough that it's not warranted. If there's anything else that we really do need to talk about, we'll probably bring it up in the next episode. So, with that said, until next time.
Bye.